We got the San Francisco 49ers. Um, and these are one of those offensive lines that was able to get to them to a Super Bowl. So, having them this low can be a little bit surprising, but at the same time, there are just some better offensive line units. They got better through the offseason. So, it's nothing to be shamed about. There's nothing that, they're bad or, they got worse. It's just that's just where they're at. That doesn't mean that they are not top five material. They're closer to the top five than any of these other guys on the countdown. They definitely have a good offensive line. You're looking at 34 sacks allowed. That's the seventh fewest in the NFL. They were fourth in the pass, third in the rush. I mean, they had weapons everywhere. And, I mean, they had running backs and Christian McCaffrey, who should have been NFL MVP. But overall, though, I mean, this is a great offense, right? And this offensive line has been carrying them. Obviously, with people not noticing because people do not notice offensive line impact. But when you look at what they got a Hall of Famer in Trent Williams. He's the best left tackle in the game. He allowed no sacks there. So again, he is the best left tackle in the game. You're looking at left guard Aaron Banks. He's number seven on the left guard list. He allowed no sacks as well, and he's young. Brendel, he's an honorable mention center. He allowed two sacks, so really not much at all. Brendel was really good this year, definitely. Feliciano, the right guard, the veteran, wasn't mentioned, but he definitely was impactful for the team. He allowed no sacks as well, and that's a great sign. And the weakest link is the right tackle and Colton McKivitz. He's young, I think he's definitely trying to hopefully have a better year next year, but this man gave up 9 sacks, which is the most out of the entire group. But if one guy allowed the most sacks there at 9, everyone else is allowing 0 to 2 sacks. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal, and they definitely deserve their flowers and they deserve to be on this countdown. For five, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a team that obviously has won back-to-back titles, and you got to give credit to the offensive line of making the likes of Pacheco come to life and making him one of the best young running backs in the game. Giving Patrick Mahomes enough time to do what he's got to do, even though he's a magician himself, and he's able to get out of most difficult situations. But overall, this is an offensive line that did lose a little bit of their power with the offensive line. Um, I would say that personally, this offensive line is looking more like 2019, where they had some pretty good interior and center, but their tackles are just extremely weak. So a three-peat is going to be pretty tough, but I do believe that, it is Patrick Mahomes and it's the Chiefs. So looking at the Chiefs, 28 sacks allowed, that's second fewest in the league. Sixth in passing, 19th in rushing. You got left tackle Wanya Morris, who gave up 2 sacks, very young, not really well known. Left guard Thuney, who's the second best left guard in the league. He gave up 2 sacks. Creed Humphrey, second best center in the league. He had 4 sacks given. Trey Smith, who was number 8 in right guard, he allowed 2 sacks. And Jawan Taylor, who allowed 5 sacks. So overall, it's not a bad line. Just the tackles are a little weird and a little weak, I would say, compared to most past Chiefs teams. Four, I got the Philadelphia Eagles, who, for the past few years. I mean, they've had pretty much one of the best, if not the best, offensive line units in the league. Having Jason Kelsey there, having Siamalo there was fantastic, along with their draft picks and their two tackles that are stars, superstars at that fact. Losing Siamalo, I think, definitely hurt them. And now Jason Kelsey retiring is, I think that's a huge loss for them. But I mean, they're still a solid offensive unit. Losing two people, plug it in, Jurgens at the center position, I think could work. We've seen him play the guard position, and he wasn't that bad. So overall, this is still a good offensive unit, offensive line unit, and this is still a team that can contend for a Super Bowl. Definitely has pieces to do that. So overall, Philadelphia's got to feel good about where they're at. You're looking at 39 sacks allowed. That's the 11th fewest in the league. They were 16th in passing, 8th in rushing. You're looking at left tackle Malida, who's third at left tackle in the league, 3 sacks allowed. You got Landon Dickerson, who's fifth in left guard. He allowed 3 sacks. Jurgens with 0 sacks. Steen at the right guard now with 0 sacks. And Lane Johnson at number 2, best right tackle, allowed 3 sacks. future Hall of Fame tackle as well. Yeah, this is a really good offensive line. I think they'll do wonders this next year, and I do believe they'll still compete, and I think they'll still be relevant. So, three, we got the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns, I mean, has been fantastic. They've had an offensive line that's been pretty stout for a while now. Great interior tackles definitely get overlooked and on overlooked underrated tackles for sure. Yeah, it's the best offensive line in that division, which is crazy to say that with Steelers and Ravens being that foundation for so long. But Cleveland has figured it out. They've done a great job getting the right guys in there, and it's going to continue. They just need a QB, a solid QB1, and I think this team can have the ability of possibly being a playoff team. Um, you look at the Browns, man, 45 sacks allowed, it's 12th highest, which is surprising to me when I see that. They were 19th in passing, 12th in rushing. Nick Chubb, injury that was rough. But again, this is an offensive line that uh, was there for Nick Chubb's fantastic seasons before the injury. If you're looking at left tackle, they got Jedrick Wills Jr., super young left tackle. He's got a lot of potential, high potential with 3 sacks allowed. Joel Bitonio, he's the third best left guard in the league. He allowed 2 sacks this year or this past year, so not bad. Anthony Pocic, who was an honorable mention, he only allowed 1 sack. Wyatt Tiller, number 6 for right guard, he allowed 6 sacks. And right tackle Conklin, who still is reliable as is at the tackle position. Allowing no sacks is pretty nice. Yeah, it's a great offensive line. I think they'll have a lot of success next year, and it's going to be one of their strong points is going to be that offensive line. Number two, I got the Indianapolis Colts. This is a team that has a lot of actual like great talent there that no one realizes they have it. It's a team that definitely gets is under the radar and a team that hasn't been able to really showcase their talent all the way. This is a team that I do believe will make a playoff push, especially with Anthony Richardson being healthy. This team definitely looks like they can be a playoff team. Absolutely. The offensive line is the strongest point of this entire offense. They are dominant. They have built a offensive line that is made it perfect for Anthony Richardson to have time to throw it to their wideouts, tight ends. Feed the running back. I mean, it's gonna help. It's gonna help. This Colts team, and it's gonna help. Richardson is going to help Jonathan Taylor. So, I mean, overall, this is going to be a really good, fun team to watch this next coming season. Colts fans should be happy with this offensive line and what they were able to do. You're looking at 41 sacks allowed, 17th fewest, even though it's super high. 20th in passing, 10th in rushing. 20th, I mean, they lost Anthony Richardson. They would have been higher if he was there. But you're looking at left tackle, Bernard Raymond, who was honorable mention. He allowed 4 sacks. Left guard, the best left guard in the league, Quinn Nelson. He had 1 sack allowed. Ryan Kelly, who was the seventh best center in the league, he had 1 sack. Will Fry is an honorable mention at right guard. He allowed 4 sacks. And Braden Smith, the ninth best right tackle, with no sacks. So again, this is a big offensive line. They're big boys up front. And I mean, yeah, they are nasty, man. So overall, everybody getting recognition on this line, it's going to be pretty deadly for defensive, D lines and defensive coordinators to figure out how do I break through with that brick wall, pretty much at that point. So it's a great offensive line, and I'm excited to see what they do. one offensive line unit in the NFL is the Detroit Lions, and that's crazy to say that, especially with their history of losing so much and not having some upside to look for towards to. But this past year has been great. They got all the way to the NFC Championship game, and they lost Jonah Jackson, but they were able to regain all of that and get a really reliable veteran right guard to just substitute Jonah Jackson, and they have the honestly the absolute best unit in the league. You're looking at Detroit, 31 sacks allowed, it's the fourth fewest. They were second in passing, fifth in rushing. A dynamic offense. You're looking at left tackle Taylor Decker. He did not get on the list mainly because they 8 sacks, but overall, he's still a reliable left tackle. He's still someone that you need to look at. Definitely, you can see him moving though to the right tackle position. Left guard, yeah, Grant Glasgow. It's number 7. He only allowed 2 sacks this year. Great guard. Honestly, athletic, high IQ. At center, they have the best center in the NFL in Ragnow. He only allowed 1 sack. At the right guard position, they signed Kevin Zeitler, and he's the number 10 right guard who did really well in Baltimore. He only allowed 2 sacks. And then they have the best right tackle in football, Penei Sewell. Um, yeah, the Mountain, the guy that everyone should fear, and they do fear. Almost like they are unable to get through to him. Pretty much, he is a wall, and he only had 1 sack allowed. So yeah, overall, you're looking at it. Detroit has the best offensive line unit. They're going to be great. They're going to have some big numbers, put up some points, and they definitely are Super Bowl contenders. And that's crazy to say that, but they are. And watch out for them. This offensive line is going to be explosive.